music lovers, rock fans, whatever you are, welcome to the halls of MPJ and my wonderful crew, to Lauren, to Chris, to Paul, and to Trish. We are reviewing the latest rock albums and rated them out of 5, and let's see how they land for our listening pleasure. Today's offering is Nova Twins and Parasites and Butterflies. We're going to immediately go, is he a parasite? Is he a butterfly? Only you can decide. Chris.
Cool, thanks. This is an interesting album. I haven't heard of Nova Twins before. I think this is either their third or fourth album, so yeah, it's just not really cropped up on my radar before. I prefer the heavier tracks on the album. I'm not usually one that cares whether it's a rock album or not. If I enjoy it, I enjoy it. If I don't. The heavier stuff they do, where they use a bit more of the instruments to bolster their singing style, really work for me. Whereas some of the slower or sort of more ballad ones, not so much. So things like Sandman and Parallel Universe were the sort of the standouts for me. I think it's Monsters is just there's a relentlessness to the music in that track that just drives it home and works really well. But some of the other tracks are not so much for me. I think one of the things I do like the contrast in both of their voices, and then I don't know whether it's a thing with the female voice on a rock album that just sort of hits a sweet spot for me with the contrast with the sort of the lower range instruments and the higher range songs. But yeah, for me it was an interesting one to listen to. As I say, some of the slower songs not so much for me. But yeah, the contrast of their voices as well works really nicely.
Wow. So, I know somebody who absolutely adored this album. She absolutely loved it. So, Paul, we'll go to you next.
That was a bit of an exaggeration, but yeah.
I said she, Paul. I said she, not you. I wasn't talking about you. Carry on.
Who were you talking about then?
Well, I was talking about Trish, but I skipped her. So I said, I know somebody who loves this, but we won't go to her. We'll go to you instead. You just
Is that what you actually said?
Yeah.
Okay. In the late night party into.
It was. It was. I remember it was rocking in Wales last night.
Yeah, it was. Chinese as well, but there we are. Won't go there. So London-based duo Nova Twins have hit the heights with their third album, Parasites and Butterflies. Creating something out of chaos is a good moniker to sum them up. Alternative heavy synth rock with a touch of hip hop that has had approval from both Tom Morello and Elton John. Both worlds apart, yet drawn like chaotic moths to an all-consuming flame. You'll either be entranced or stunned by the music onslaught that sometimes rages and comes out with Nova Twins and their confidence. Although this sounds amazing, there is room for improvement and refinement. Whether it'll come out before they burn out, I don't know. Loved the Piranha song. It hit my playlist.
Lauren, what did you think?
Yeah, I sort of, again, me and Chris always tend to be on a very similar wavelength. It is very much, I agree so much with what he has said. Yeah, they're a London duo whose musical blend sort of reflects the culture that is in their home from where they live in London. For me, the album was an interesting blend of like the different genres that was well made. However, the hard rock, more metally stuff that they do is where they shine. It's where it really brings out their voices and the qualities within it, and where I think they just smash it out the park. And I hark on about them all the time, but Bring Me the Horizon, it's not a podcast set without me mentioning them.
Never heard of it. Who? Sorry?
Bring Me the Horizon.
Never heard. Who would Bring Me the Horizon? I never heard of them.
I'll educate you, Nige. I'll educate you.
Of course I've heard of them.
But yeah, so on there, I think it was the album before last, the Nova Twins featured on a track on that, One by One. And it had those elements of that metal, a little bit of like that industrial sort of flittering in their sort of vibes. And the way the twins worked on that track was sensational. I love that. I listen to it all the time, and not just because it's a Bring Me the Horizon song, but because I think they are fantastic on it. So when that was reflected in certain elements of this album, I was like, oh yeah, no, give me more, please. And then there are other elements of the album where it does veer into other genres, which I respect. I get it. It's part of their journey of learning what sound they want to have. But I think that the metal side of things is where they really, really shine. It was one of those where, like, I was chatting to you, Nige. I often find with an album where they dip their toes within different genres inside a single album, it sometimes rides that line between we're experimental and we're trying to give you something interesting, and we're having an identity crisis and we don't know what sound we are. So for me, this rode that line really hard in places, but then brought it home when it came back with the more metal style stuff. And that's what made me sort of prick up and listen to it a bit more, because that's what I really enjoy listening to. Again, like Chris said, it's that combination of that feminine vocality mixed with that hard sort of edged back that then just makes for a really mentally gorgeous listen. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a good album. I enjoyed it. I feel a bit whelmed by it. However, there is so much promise in there. And like Paul said, I can only hope that they really narrow in on that before it just fizzles out.
So, as I mentioned, I think somebody might have liked this album. Trish!
I'm going to start by saying I would have actually liked Piranha to have been the first track on the album to hook me in, but that's just my personal choice. It's a complete stonker of a track and my favourite. That being said, album, a short one at 36 minutes long, it bloody well delivers on all its tracks. All of them had me moving along to them with a skank face while on listening. Musically, it has diversity with a mix of new metal, rap, some tracks with a bit of pop electronic. These all worked well together to give a great flow to the album. I didn't really want it to end, as it does go so quickly while you're listening because you just get lost into the music. I would have put it for a contender for the album of the year for sure. It's a band I've not really listened to before, but now a firm favourite. Some back catalogues to check out, and this album to have on repeat 100%. They're touring, so it'd be great to see if you can get tickets, as I imagine they would get chewed up like a piranha.
So when two records hit my playlist, and this was Piranha was one of them, and Glory being the other one, and at 36 minutes long, you would go, well, this album is going to be an absolutely top-notch, high-rated one. But I have to agree with Lauren. I have to agree that when you kind of mix in, and when we put it out, for example, the Dropout Kings that we reviewed, which is just sensational and kind of mixed genres, and Attack, which kind of mixed genres and did it really well. I felt that the rest of the album was a bit hit and miss in that sense as well. It didn't kind of land with me in the way that it should have, and I absolutely agree. When it kind of got more rocky, they were fantastic, and then some of the other stuff was just a bit, I don't know, it just missed the mark for me. But thankfully it was only 36 minutes long, and that's a shame really, because I said Glory and Piranha, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I rate an album 5, and they only got one track on my cool playlist, but this got 2. So I think it's a little bit too diverse in its kind of musical kind of taste, and it doesn't kind of blend in well on some of it, and that for me just didn't kind of land in that fashion. But will it be enough to get into its Hall of Fame? Let's find out then, shall we? Chris?
So I give this 3.5.
Pretty solid. Trish? Go on. 5. Paul?
If 3.5 is solid, I give it a solid.
Same from me, a 3.5 too. Lauren?
I gave it a solid 3.
Okay. And right. If Andy were to give this a 4.5, it's in our Hall of Fame. He's delivered once. But that's as far as it goes. He gave it a solid 4 though. A solid 4, which puts Nova Twins at 3.9. Oh, so close. So close. It's in our top 151. It's 151st album of all time, so it's pretty damn solid, and 58th album of the year. So it doesn't get we'll get into our top 20 albums of the year, but it's pretty damn solid. What do you think, people? Now that you've visited the halls, now you've heard what we've had to say, please leave your comments below. Hit the like and subscribe button. Go on, you know you'd like to. And thank you very much to my wonderful crew, to Paul, to Chris, to Lauren, and to Trish. Keep on rocking.